And we're live. Welcome to the newest episode of our Star Trek Picard stream. I am Sophia. I'm from Trans Revolution and formerly on the Alpha to Omega reading series. And next up, we have our lovely co-host, Esri.
Well, hello there. I'm practicing bad social distancing, hanging out in New York City, where it is a fucking ghost town.
Spooky. Next, we have Kyle from General Intellect Unit.
Hey, I'm holed up in very snowy Calgary.
And then using coronavirus as a means to send people to the gulag, we have Commandante Alpha.
Damn straight. So is it, wait now, you said Sophia, but is it not Sophie or is it Sophia? What's going on? You spell it one way, you say another one. This is just bullshit.
Yeah, this is grounds for gulag.
Yeah, off to the gulag. Let's sneeze on her.
Oh my god.
Oh no. I'm not down for
There's
this
a
cultural rep.
concept. There's a concept called nicknames, Tom.
Never heard of it.
Legally, my name is Sophia with an
Who's
A.
Tom? Who's Tom? This is Commandante Alpha. Give me my right name, please. What's your thing?
Yeah. Don't you know his name is Chairman O'Brien?
Yeah. Who's this Tom? Who's this Tom character?
Oh my god, you're a character.
Hey.
So yeah, we have a big hecking chungus of an episode. Wouldn't you agree?
I'd certainly agree.
Absolutely.
Huge chunk.
Huge chungus. So
Chungus.
yeah, Chungus Among Us, like the big chunky Bugs Bunny meme. You should know this, Commandante Alpha.
Memes. No, memes aren't for me.
Memes. So we start off before the cold, or during the cold open rather, with the admonition, and here we get Commodore O. At this point, we don't know a whole lot about Commodore O, and this is kind of a big Commodore O episode, even though she's only in flashbacks. She is leading this like kind of ritual, and we see Lieutenant Rizzo and Ramda. So what we get confirmed in this cold open is that Commodore O is in on the plot. She isn't just like a Starfleet sympathizer. She's kind of like a boss bitch, actually. Liberal feminists love her. It's super cringy. She totally gave up on supporting Bernie. And on top of that,
why is no one supporting Kamala Harris? You know.
Ugh. Yeah, why? Who's
dirty
Kamala
girl.
Harris in the series?
I don't know. My joke already didn't age well.
Lieutenant Rizzo? Is Kamala Harris into incest?
At least she's a real character now.
Oh, she is.
Rizzo.
You know, she is.
She is. Yeah.
She's big into incest. Well known.
Yeah. I was like, oh. Wow, that's good. Wow. All right.
Seriously, just ask anybody in her family; they'll tell you.
Oh my god.
Let's move on.
So anyway,
Do you see my hat? I got a Deep Space Nine hat.
yeah.
Speaking of
Forget
Vulcan,
the episode. Let's talk about Esri's hat. The hat is adorable.
How
It's
much
very
money,
good.
How much money did you pay for that?
like $10.
I've got a hat. I should turn on for you. I've got a hat for you. I
Do
bought
you have
one.
a Star Trek hat?
No, it's actually a hat that's like your one, but it says "I love Jesus" on the front.
Oh, that's
I bought
kind of
it.
like my hat.
Yeah, I bought it in Uganda.
I
When
mean,
When I was
Okay.
playing like poker, I used to professionally. I used to wear this "I love Jesus" hat, and it would distract people. They're thinking, "Who is this moron?" And then I'd take all their money off them. So it was really effective.
Then you flip the table at the end.
Yeah, yo, suckers.
Social engineering.
they are very similar because Cisco is Space Jesus. This is established.
Oh
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Base
Space
Jesus.
Jesus loves baseball.
Yeah,
Space Jesus
Uh,
loves
Jesus
baseball.
does love baseball because it's as American as apple pie.
yeah.
That's
true.
right.
I love Space Jesus.
That's right.
So, if we're going to talk about fashion, I got piercings today or the other day. I got a new Susie and a Banshee shirt. I'm feeling great.
Yeah.
So
you got a
anyway,
hat
let's talk
face? You got
about
a- Okay.
Let's talk about Kyle's fashion. Just kidding. Let's talk about Star Trek. Sorry, Kyle.
Kyle's fashion is very slapdash.
That's what gives him his charm.
Very true. So I have a question for y'all.
Mm-hmm.
For the admonition. What is this about? Is this like, I guess they establish this towards the end. It's like something from the past, according to Girardi, but like during the vision in the cold open, when Rizzo and Ramda and everybody else grabs the green laser beam of remembrance, in their like flashy, crazy like visions, there's a clear image of Lieutenant Commander Data being spooky as hell. And that isn't from the past. That is 100% not of the past.
Is it Data?
Data was clearly in that vision.
It's like you get like a robot, like real basic android, and then it transitions to Data, I think is the scene.
Well, it could be another like.
Is it lore?
Well, what I'm thinking is that it could be like a related, like Soong-like Maddox type android or something.
Fair.
I kind of want to scrub through and see this, but I don't know if we have time for all that jazz. So I'm not going to do that.
I'm just doing it now, so I'll have a check while you're talking.
Okay.
We're going to get a hair update on Data.
You cut off there. What was that?
We're going to get a hair update on Data from Tom here.
No, it's it morphs between the one that actually blew up the Planetia, what the hell it was called?
Utopia Planitia.
Utopia Planitia, where the Enterprise was built.
It morphs between him and Data, is what it does. It goes from one and it kind of melds between the two.
I think it's clearly Data, and if it's clearly Data, and if it's also clearly the android that, or the synth that attacked Utopia Planitia, these are both present day androids, and unless the aesthetic, not the inner workings, but the aesthetic that the past people made their androids is exactly the same as what Noonien Soong made, and that's just happenstance, which I don't believe. There's more going on with this admonition than it's just like visions of the past and a warning from the past, So I don't think Dr. Girardi is 100% correct. And somebody added to the notes the notion that this is brainwashy, right? Like
yeah. So like it does seem kind of brainwashy. It's not like how do I put this? It's like watching The Ring or some like thing on the internet that you wish you could unsee. Or it's like the kind of like horrific images that people are exposed to during a brainwashing. Because that's part of that is to like shock you, to kind of make you like a little disoriented, dissociated, to make you let your guard down. And to like try to seek some comfort in something because you've just been exposed to something horrible.
Like the coronavirus. Share my screen there. Look at what they show. It's like they actually had the coronavirus. That's right in the fucking middle of it.
Oh, damn.
That's the premonition. Spooky.
Star Trek Picard
Spooky.
predicted the coronavirus.
Or they created the coronavirus in order to make it like, much more compelling. To get more people people aren't, tuning in as much anymore. People what if we predict a coronavirus? Like that's just Section 31 talking.
Here's my theory. CBS knew nobody wanted to buy their damn app that has the worst AI ever, right? Unless
it does have pretty bad AI.
It has bad AI and UI. Unless we're all quarantined and all the Trekkie people who are like, I fucking hate new Trek, when they're quarantined, are like, I've watched these shows a million times. Let's watch the new shit. Fuck it.
Well, I guess. Yeah. All right.
That's my theory.
Coronavirus is all a plot to sell CBS All Access. Check it, mate. Live long and prosper, everybody. That's
all right. Bye. It's been a good show. We'll see you.
We secure a thought. All right.
Are you scrubbing through to get the clip in question, Tom, or are you just scrubbing through for funsies?
He's looking for the hairs. He's looking for the hair follicles.
Okay, you do that. We'll keep going with the show. So, yeah, I totally agree with you, Esri. I think that what's happening here is they're being shown something that may or may not have happened that's so terrifying and horrible that you're really open to suggestion, and it is basically brainwashing. It's so terrible that you get like one person like shoots himself in the head, another person claws until they bleed. Rhonda is pulling out hair, and she's kind of like not right after this. We established with Rizzo.
I have it here now. Do you want to see it?
Yeah.
Add me there. So this is the scene as it turns into Data. See it there?
Yeah.
So
that's 100% Data.
No, I didn't catch that.
So wait now. Just I'm trying to slow it down as it's
All right. Okay, face. Oh, okay. Damn, nice catch. Now,
Data.
did y'all really see this with your eyes?
Yeah.
Or did you see it with social media? Because I didn't catch this at all, and I wonder.
No, I saw that during the broadcast. Yeah.
Yep.
That's
all during the broadcast.
Nice attention to detail, people. Damn.
So yeah, my thought is that it's not something from the past. At a bare minimum, there's more than what's going on.
There's obviously something clue there, because it's going from the fella who crashed the Planitia, blew up the Planitia, into Data, and his face transmits from one to the other. So there's got to be, they're not doing that for no reason. Is it Data came back from the future to do it, to kill his own children? That could be really fucked up.
Well, having just watched the Voyager last episode, the Voyager finale Endgame, where there's some time travel shenanigans, and with the idea that they're trying to make an anti-Star Trek show, that would be like the anti-Endgame. So, I don't buy it at all, but I'm entertaining it. I'm being polite.
So, I don't think that's true, and I'm not going to entertain that. And I'm just going to move on. No, I also wanted to point out, though, that I honestly don't know if that android that we saw like morph into Data using Adobe Flash was the same android that attacked Utopia Planitia. It looked different. The Utopian Planitia.
Yeah, it did.
Go ahead.
It looked more like one of those robots from iRobot. You know, the Will Smith movie. Yeah. Sorry to the memory of Isaac Asimov.
Yeah,
that is a Will Smith movie.
Rip. You know, like that Will Smith movie, iRobot. I mean, to be fair, it didn't really have much to do with Asimov. It had as much to do with Asimov as this plot has so far. Like,
yep.
Well, and also to be fair, you don't get like a specific design visual with a novel, but you do with the movie.
Right.
So, I agree. It did look more like Will Smith's iRobot than it did that android. The androids on Utopia Planitia had a weird uncanny valley kind of thing going.
Hell yeah.
Please no Will Smith on my profile. But
No,
I don't think this is the same.
It was Ep8. Hell yeah.
Don't at me, okay? Just pat me. Anyway, we need to move on. We've been on the cold open for 10, 15 minutes.
It's a long cold open.
It is a long cold open, that's true. So, I guess we should pivot there to Girardi's downfall.
Well, I do want to just bring up one more thing about the admonition, which is, like, I think this does kind of get to some broader questions about, you know, we get the history of the Zhat Vash, right? Which is that they found this place, they accessed the admonition, which, you know, is the name that they gave it. And were so, like, it was basically Romulan researchers going out into the black and finding this thing, finding the Lovecraftian knowledge that should not be known, and forming the Zhat Vash based on their interpretation of the admonition. there was no direct message that they needed to become the Zhat Vash or anything like that. It was just this horrifying scene they saw, which they interpreted as being like, oh, this is world ending, therefore we must kill all sins.
Right.
So I think that going forward, there may be a kind of like, oh no, your interpretation was mistaken. You should have gone back to your philosophy of science and reanalyzed your experimental data here.
Yeah, because part of their interpretation is that the chances of an octenary star system forming, having 8 suns in one place, is astronomically low naturally. So they assumed that a very powerful, race of like ancestor aliens or some other form of life, basically like U-hauled a bunch of suns together to get people's attention, and this would be supposedly the actual conclave of 8 that was referenced by Raffi's son as he was laying into her. And yeah, so that like a pretty powerful like race of extinct sentient life, you hauled a bunch of stars together to, leave what they interpret to be a warning. And that's why they interpret it. That's why they interpret it to be a warning. It's not just like a remembrance museum with, like a terrifying acid trip in it. They created a whole star system to kind of flag the universe. The Federation usually puts out these like signal beacons to warn people. And this, according to the Zhat Vash, or according to the interpretation, is like, that's the most likely thing that's trying to be like transmitted with this knowledge. And Kyle, I like that you brought up the sort of Lovecraftian knowledge which should not be known sort of thing, because it's very much at odds with the Enlightenment pig principle of the more the better that you have with, Enlightenment humanism and Star Trek.
Okay, we got to move on.
Absolutely.
I have more I want to say myself, but we've been on this cold open for a hot minute. So
It's the only political content.
I mean, kind of, but not really.
We didn't even talk about how O is half. She's half and half.
Oh my goodness, you're totally right though.
She's 2 kinds of elf.
So yeah,
She's
that's
light
the
elf and
explanation
dark
for
elf,
how O got into Starfleet and is like why she's such a sympathizer with the Romulans. I was half right. She's not a Vulcan who is a Romophile. She is half Vulcan, half Romulan, and I'm taking that as a W.
Yeah, I take that as a W, babe. I thought she was just like friendos with them, not or like sympathizer, not like boss bitch Zhat Vash. So, well done.
Yep. So yeah, she's half Vulcan. That's her deal.
And Ramda is a Palpatine. They're actually related. Like Rizzo and Ramda are related, and therefore Narek and Ramda are related. I mean, besides being Romulans, they're like fam. Ramda raised Narek and Rizzo.
That's true. That is true. She adopted them.
And Ramda's fucking Vash. She's in the Vash.
That's true. That's true too. I get so they're like a conspiracy that is not even just Tal Shiar. It seems like because Ramda was like an academic. She was like an expert on Romulan mythos, or as she called it, the news.
Yeah, she's this is some deep conspiracy shit. This is the CIA, making new scholars. This is the CIA putting Althusser in his place, being like, all right, look, you need to scramble every Marxist brains with a bunch of bullshit. Like, we can't have critical theory. We need more confusion.
So yeah, we pivot to Dr. Girardi. So we have it established that Picard and Sochi get back on the ship, and Raffi is like fucking mad. Well, Rios freaks the fuck out as soon as he sees Sochi and just like kind of disassociates and leaves. Raffi's like mad, and like she pulls a gun and points it at Sochi, and she's like, "You're bringing in another like chaotic bitch to the ship who's going to be like a Romulan traitor. And Picard's like, WTF, mate? And Rafi fills him in on what Girardi did, and he doesn't believe her at first, but then they go down and talk to the EMH, and the EMH is like, yeah, when Bruce Maddox was dying, I was turned off, and she shut off the thing that was keeping him alive. I also called that the EMH would totally rat her out. So I'm 2 for 0 so far.
But what didn't you say that she was maybe gonna like do some brain surgery on the EMH? Like,
oh, I said either she's gonna do brain surgery or she's gonna forget, because she's not really a spy. She's a wholesome being who got brainwashed.
A bit of the old dialectic, so you can be
a bit
right
of the old
either
dialectic.
way.
Yeah, I'm both right and wrong at the same time. So yeah, she totally wholesome beamed it and didn't delete the EMH, and so delete that knowledge from the EMH, and so it was a matter of time before she would get caught. Let's be real.
It turns out the thing that really gave her away was consuming that uranium compound that disabled the tracker, and I thought that was going to lead to tension between Rios and Rafi. It's like, what the fuck did you put in that cake, Rafi? You know, but no, none of that.
No, because I think the EMH was like activated right after she started to go into a coma, and so the EMH would like she, according to the replicator records, she made this compound and injected it into herself. So there's clear evidence that it wasn't Rafi who did it. So eventually she's revived and comes out of the coma, and Picard starts to interrogate her a little bit, and he's very gentle with her. But because I think Picard's smart enough to be like, she's not a fucking Romulan agent. She's just some dork who got brainwashed. And so they flash back to the scene we got in like episode 2, where Commodore O approaches Girardi as she's eating lunch outside the Daystrom Institute, and we get the rest of that scene. All we got originally was, I want to talk to you about Picard, but then she totally like violates her and just like does Vulcan mind meld without like asking for permission. She just yanks on and says, my mind to your mind, which I didn't know I guess half Vulcans could always do mind meld, because Spock could do it.
That was last week, right? When she did the mind meld and showed
That's
Girardi
right. That was last week. Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
You're totally right. It was last week, but
because like I was kind of wondering about that, because mind melds are supposed to share the entire like contents of your katra, your like soul, with somebody, and it kind of feels like she just was like, I'm gonna show you some fucked up videos from the internet, like more so than like, here's my entire soul, my mind to your mind, like
it's true. I wonder if that, I mean, maybe this is kind of answered in Voyager, but I wonder if like, because just like did it was like literally like a mind rape. That's kind of like gross and spooky to think about, but like she just put shit in her brain, basically. Tom,
it was 2 girls, 1 cup for the Klingon, for the Vulcans.
I'm sure, Tom, that in your mind when you were watching, you're doing a re-edit of 2 Girls, 1 Cup with everyone going, like blowing their blades, like smashing their head with a rock. Like,
no,
that would be pretty funny, actually.
2 Girls, 1 Cup react video. Jacques Vache.
Yeah, Jacques Vache reacts to 2 Girls, 1 Cup. Oh my god. I think we have our episode title.
Help me, God.
You did it.
Gene Roddenberry, please get me out of this.
But the Picard buzz behind you is very accurate right now.
Yeah. Waiting on the space comrades.
So anyway, yeah, I forget that was last episode, but I brought that up because Girardi basically plays that scene again for Picard verbally. And I really like this line she gives, do you believe in hell? And Picard's kind of like, no, I don't.
He's like, lol.
Yeah. And he kind of like looks at her like, are you serious right now? And she's like, neither did I until I saw that. Meaning like hell on Earth or hell in the galaxy, more or less. And
any self-respecting person in the Star Trek universe does not believe in hell, but does believe in Stovacor.
yes.
Damn right. Everybody's
Stovacor's
afterlife. Yeah.
Sorry.
Go say it.
Oh, Stovacor is Stovacor's real.
Stovacor is for real.
For
Okay.
real.
Everybody's afterlife is real except for Neelix's. I don't know why.
We
Or
need to
maybe-
do that episode because or I need to watch that episode at least because I don't remember it being that dank. But
Well, human afterlives are. Well, maybe are. Oh God, are human afterlives real in Star Trek? Just
humans don't
Klingon.
believe in afterlife.
Oh yeah. In your face, humans.
Anywho, what's really interesting about this scene with Girardi getting out of the coma and Picard asking her shit is that eventually Soji comes in, and Soji's like Shib Naru or whatever the fuck the Romulan word is for a destroyer. And that's when Soji just knows in her robot memory that like there's this myth that there is this android that's going to destroy everything, and according to the logic of this myth, that's most likely me, which is, you know, pretty dark, a realization that you might be the harbinger of Armageddon. But she is very calm about it, and Girardi just like almost immediately forgets all that, forgets about hell, and forgets about what she saw from Commodore O, and is just like very stricken by Soji in a number of ways, which I found really interesting. She goes so far as to say, you are a wonder, a technological masterpiece, a work of art. She talks about how Noonien Soong talks about, thought of his work as art and not science. And
Do you mean Girardi?
what did I say?
Commodoro?
Sorry, it's barely 11 a.m. here.
It's cool.
Take that again.
Take.
Soji goes
Barely 11 a.m. For fuck's sake.
Listen, I'm performing on 2 cups of coffee in the morning. Shut it down. Shut it down,
Yeah.
Tom O'Brien.
And there's a super virus raging through the country.
Yes.
Through the world, even.
I have
Yes.
it. I'm the only one here that has it. So fuck you lot.
Wow. Wow.
Ooh,
aren't-
look
aren't
at me.
you
I'm
special?
Tom. I'm diseased.
I got
Ooh.
the new PlayStation 5, and you don't have one. Cool, Tom. Very cool.
Great, thanks.
Thought we
I
were
got-
egalitarians, Tom.
I call it the plague station.
Plague Station.
Oh, God. Okay.
New episode title.
New Plague Station. We gotta include the PlayStation little bleep bloop at the end of the episode.
Plague Station.
Anyway, take 3. Girardi even goes so far as to say, you are a wonder, a technological masterpiece, a work of art. And then she goes on to say, she talks about Dr. Noonien Soong thinking of his work as more of an art than a science. But then she says, you have 3 beauty marks below your eyes. Noonien Soong never put that on Data. Something so funny, Kyle?
I'm sorry. I just saw the note that has been added. Are
That's my
Maddox
note.
and Girardi kind of chasers?
This
And-
is my note. This is my
and
note.
I,
Here's my
I
hot
was just
take.
thinking about Maddox and Girardi cruising for
Yeah, for Android.
for synthetics.
Yeah, they're kind of like that couple that wants like a magic third, but can't quite get the pronouns right. Doesn't really think of you as a person. Because let's be clear, Maddox in Measure of a Man is a fucking chaser.
Oh, definitely.
Wants to study and investigate Data, but constantly talking about him as he's not there. Uses the wrong pronoun. doesn't even really give a shit about his name or his privacy or anything. He's just like obsessed with him, and then has to be persuaded by the law to respect the basic personhood of the people of the person he's dealing with. Like,
Yeah.
and
I found when like she was talking, she was saying like you're a work of art and everything. It was really kind of the woman was standing in front of her and she was just talking about her like she was an like an engine or something.
It was totally
really,
channeling Maddox from Measure of a Man.
which is why she's like looks dead ass in the face. Soji's just dead ass staring Jurati in the face. Yeah, but am I a person? Do you see me as a person? Are you gonna kill me too?
Yeah, and Girardi never
Hashtag
answers
girls
that.
like us.
I really like this.
Hashtag androids like us, okay? Like, I know this is a hot take, but I think it's there. We have Donna Haraway's The Cyborg Manifesto. It's not a hard critical theory jump, all right?
No.
Jurati is just like that cis chaser girl. You know, she's like that cis chaser woman that runs the reading groups, all right?
This isn't even like a real critical theory hot take that is like, usually they're kind of silly. I kind of buy this. If there's anyone who is more transhumanist than a trans person, like in reality, like in our, not in theory, not in like the future, but now, like,
yeah, trans girl.
we're about as close as you get to a cyborg.
Well,
Except for maybe
literal, except for my one of my good friends here is a literal cyborg in a way, like
true.
Yeah. So people that have like prosthetics that they consider part of their body. Like that's a lot of the thing from Donna Haraway's Cyborg Manifesto is like, for instance, okay, like these glasses. I do feel kind of naked without them, and it might seem like that doesn't really count, but it's not that far of a jump. Like if you need something in order to be yourself, like, and your own organs don't function the way that they have to without it. Like, it's only a slight jump from there to neurons communicating with machines.
I'm gonna
100%.
get my eyes done. I'm really fucking pissed off, and my glass keeps slipping down my nose. It's such a pain in the ass.
You're gonna have to do that like Drew Carey Ep8 surgery. Jesus.
What's that? Oh yeah.
The eye, the fucking eye surgery that you can't sleep through and you can't close your eyes through, the Ludovico technique where they strap you to the thing and look for your cortical node.
Have you heard the original method was for doing like getting your eyes done? They used to take your eyeball out, put it into liquid nitrogen, make it hard, and then shave it with a machine, would grind it to the right shape, and then put it back into your eye.
Fuck off!
I swear to fucking Jesus, that's in like the 50s and 60s, and apparently it was pretty good. It was very good. But they used to shave.
That's a lot more Ep8 eye surgery than I was really anticipating.
Fucking right on.
That's where Frakes got it. That's where Frakes got his ideas.
My God. No, from the original LASIK technique.
Wow. Wow. I mean, at least they have to put you under, I'm assuming. Jesus.
Yeah. I'm assuming they're not going to do it the Vergessen way.
No. They make you watch like Clockwork Orange while your eye is out at the same time.
Well, how? How can you appreciate it?
You have one eye. You've got one eye that can like see the film in front of you and what they're doing. It's really hardcore. I don't know why they did that. That was a bit weird, but that's apparently what they did.
Jeez, Tom.
Wow. I'd rather wear glasses.
Yeah,
I'm going to wear 2 pairs of glasses from now on.
Anyway, let's get back to Ep.
So, as we were saying, chasers.
I agree. I didn't think about that, but I like that take. Girardi never says, yes, you're a person, but what Girardi does say is, I won't kill you. And she says it in a strangely sweet way. So that's a start.
Yeah, it's real weird. Because, like, in Measure of a Man, it seemed like Maddox kind of came to accept Data's personhood at the end of the episode. and maybe
Yeah.
Girardi doesn't accept the personhood of synthetics.
She's gonna have to come around. Like, Maddox, like, wanted still to study Data, like, throughout his whole life. And, like, yeah, Data was like, all right, look, we can, talk online if you want, pay me like $15 a month for OnlyFans or something. Like, and I'll talk to you, weirdo. Like, your fascination can benefit me. That's fine. Like, but ultimately, like, Maddox is still like a scientist, and we don't get a chance to interview him. You don't know towards the end of his life how much he's evolved. I mean, he's probably got the pronouns straight by now, but what else has really fallen into place? And yes, he's, clearly done great things for the cyborg community by building sweet ass synths, and we appreciate his research. But, that doesn't tell you a lot about someone's personal, like their personal their like individual grasp on the humanity, or the, I should say, personhood of the synths that he's working on.
So I think much like a chaser thinks of trans women as real women, I think Girardi and Maddox think of Soji and the rest of the androids as people, real people, right? Like,
okay. So, like, I enjoyed thinking of it this way, but I don't know if I really mean it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I bet you during the cutaway, if we actually saw that scene, Girardi answered yes to that question. But they cut it away because to leave it ambiguous, but also because, like, I don't think she really does. Hey,
I think you're whatever you want to be, man.
Yeah, exactly. That kind of bro who's supportive. Yeah.
Well, this is where feminist language fails us. She's a cis woman chaser. Girardi is that very difficult breed that pits all of the things I hold dear against each other.
So we need to move on. We're coming up on 40 minutes here. So I want to talk about Captain Vandermeer. So this is a real big O episode, but this is also a real big fucking Captain Rios episode. So, as I mentioned earlier, Rios like dissociates as soon as he sees Soji. And Picard's like yelling at him before he snaps back. And he sets into course for Deep Space 12, and he goes to his quarters and activates all the EMHs. So you get this cute little, like, kind of like vignettes of like Rafi like interviewing all the different EMHs in order to figure out like what's going on with Captain Rios. Why did he dissociate so hardcore? And that's where she puts together a lot of stuff about not only Captain Rios's backstory, but also fills in the gaps with like the Octarian star system and so on and so forth. What I found interesting from like a psych dystopian / utopian kind of perspective was I kind of thought of the EMHs being modeled off of Captain Rios was like him being a narcissist. And the show kind of leans in that direction. But as you get to know Captain Rios, it's not a narcissist, but Rafi explicitly figures out like these EMHs are a fracturing of Rios, right? Like each EMH kind of represents a different part of Captain Rios, and it's almost like a physical manifestation of what happened to him after he left Starfleet, or he was fired.
PTSD leads to disassociation. Disassociation leads to like DID, dissociative identity disorder kind of stuff, where your being fragments into almost different people. Like, and yeah, this is an externalization of that, like what would have been called in the past schizophrenia.
Or multiple personality disorder.
Right.
Or multiple bad accents disorder.
I'm as someone who cares little for European cultural cohesion. I thoroughly enjoy what his terrible I don't even think they're that bad. I thoroughly enjoy what those accents are doing to people that actually know accents.
I
like
think Picard. I think Picard is just establishing its brand identity as the bad accent show. We got Patrick Stewart's bad accents. We got Rios's bad accents. It's they're all over the place.
My God, Rios is Irish one. Like, tell me you listen to him and go, that sounds like Tom speaking there. That's fair. It's close enough. Oh, sure, but jeez, look at that there now.
The Scottish one is just
it's
so cringe
like
as well.
Oh, hi, the new.
I mean, it just sounds to me. It just sounds like Tom and Shane. I mean, I just can't hear the difference.
Shane was accent. Shane, he's gonna fucking hang draw and quarter you for that.
They've got a
Yeah, I think it accomplished what it was meant to do, and that it was played for humor. And I think it was very funny. You have to admit that shit was hilarious. It was very cute too. It was very cute with like a background or subtext that was like incredibly dark. Because you get the emergency tactical hologram, who's like the edgy, very Spanish part of Captain Rios, who almost exclusively speaks Spanish, and he goes for what happened to Captain Vandermeer, and that's where it's established. And that happens in the middle of a very cute, funny scene. But they kind of circle back around when Raffi finally is let into Rios's quarters, and they have like the serious moment where they talk about what actually happened to him. And before that, Rios is looking at this like hand-drawn picture of a woman sitting next to him who looks exactly like Soji. So that's pretty weird. But the obvious answer is that this is another android. And so we get the full story from Rios later on when Raffi gets in. And I really liked how thematically, and I usually don't notice stuff like this, but they're playing a Billie Holiday song, Solitude. And what was the line that Raffi walks in? You haunt me, right? And I feel like for somebody who's like dissociated and isolated, a friend caring for you and trying to help you is almost like being haunted, right? Like you don't want it. It'll be good for you, but you don't want it, And I don't know.
Huh. Yeah, I was thinking the haunting is it seems like Rios like really warmed up to that robot girl, and then his captain fucking ices her, and he confronts this man that he basically considers his father. That's a big part of the captain thing, is that Rios is recovering from his father figure committing suicide, essentially as a response to not being able to live what he did, not being able to live with what he did under Starfleet orders. But also, Rios was like pushing back, and I'm like, what the fuck did you do, man? Like, I don't care if that was Starfleet's orders. Like, that was wrong. You shouldn't have done that. And it seems like, in the middle of that conversation, his father figure kills himself. Like, so, yeah, the haunting, I didn't notice the lyrics, but when Rios seeing that person's face, like seeing Soji's face, is going to instantly bring him back.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know.
But I like the interpretation too.
Oh yeah, I mean it's just multiple ways to look at it. I also really like. There's a lot of subtle things that I notice in this scene. I guess because like this is also a very familiar, as somebody who like hangs out with a lot of traumatized people. This is a very familiar scenario, and so earlier Raffi tries to get a drink from her replicator in her quarters, like an alcoholic drink, and she locked herself out a while ago trying to like get off the sauce. And when she is talking to Rios, I thought that she was going to get them both booze from his replicator because she was really desperate for it earlier. And instead she gets him coffee, which he did for her a couple episodes ago, which I thought was a really cute callback. And so, yeah, he talks about it. And as you said, Ezri, he killed himself in response to being ordered to kill a couple of androids, basically. Starfleet threatened them, went so far as to threaten them and said, if you don't do this, we will come and blow you up. And the order came from Starfleet Security, which we know Commander O, or Commodore O, rather, is the head of, and I guess she was the head of at that point, too. This seems relatively recent, like between Romulus falling and present day. So, yeah, like, very deep, very dark, and we figure out like why Rios is the way he is. He's not just a narcissist; he's traumatized. So let's move on to the scene with Picard and Soji talk about eggs. Babe, can you take the helm on this one? I have to excuse myself.
Sure. Let's talk about eggs. What is that? I'm gonna find out. Okay, so
Soji and Picard discuss alienation in the notes.
oh my lord, what a beautiful scene. So like, even though I've seen this episode, what I have in my heart's memory is just a spike of feelings watching Picard and Soji talk about Data and talk about Picard's relationship with Data. And in TNG, especially before he gets the emotion chip or whatever, it's a constant question whether Data is like doing machine learning on human emotions and approximating everything you would expect in a way that stirs our heartstrings, but is really no more than, a dog's hanging mouth is a smile or something. Like, and it's Data, if you ask him, everyone is just projecting these things onto him. But constantly throughout the show, Data reacts and seems to have an internal life, seems to have emotions that he will outwardly deny, which is no stranger. What Star Trek is no stranger to that, because Vulcans are like this. And Vulcans do have an internal life, a very powerful one. But outwardly, they'll deny that. And Data is quick to outwardly deny. He does not have feelings. He does not have emotions. And this scene is specifically in dialogue with that. When Picard describes to Soji how he would like Data to have remembered him if Picard had died before Data. He describes the kind of like connection that they had. And Soji, almost interrupting, just says, he loved you. Like just doing some classic induction from if A and B and C and D, therefore he loved you. And it's
it also seemed to be Soji like really owning her inheritance as a descendant of Data and kind of like speaking for him. And this, I think this episode is the first one where I really found Soji to be a character who was intriguing and had some more depth to her and really like developed into a three-dimensional person who, she's got all these different things going on now. It's her original memories. It's what she's learned from Picard about her relationship to Data. It's the whole destroyer prophecy. She has all these different things going on. She's working through all of them. It's her relationship with Girardi too, right? And her relationship to Maddox, who's now passed but still is there, which is definitely going to come up with going to this planet.
Yeah. Babe, I was just gushing about when Soji tells Picard that Data loved him.
Oh, that was
That was
so
very
sweet.
sweet.
It just hits on that central tension in TNG. Is Data feel like? Does Data feel? Does he love? You know.
I think it all
Yes.
it also hit onto something about Picard, and he said, did you love Data? And he said, well, in my way, I suppose. Kind of like, pointing out his own kind of weird sociopathic like inability to love. He never had it.
Yeah. Well, he explicitly draws a comparison between his difficulty with human relationships and Data's.
Yeah, I feel like this was like kind of a redeeming Picard scene in a lot of ways. Like,
yeah,
Picard so far this series has been constantly in a ball kicking machine, but he's kind of deserved it. Like, let's be real. Like, he's been kind of an asshole. And then we get this scene where he's talking about, like, if Data had survived and Picard had passed, how would Picard wish Data would remember him? You know? And instead of talking about all these things about Picard, like a great captain, a great diplomat, you know, he's like, everything had to do with like their relationship and how much like he would wish that Data would understand how much Picard cared about him, and how he would wish that Data would remember him as somebody who was a good mentor and a loving friend, you know, all these things that are like not very selfish, you know, especially by Picard's standards so far this series. And I think what's happening here is that like Soji's going to, like, Picard's initial motivations for this motivation are very selfish. He basically said so in the last episode, but I think what's going to happen is that Soji's going to kind of push Picard to be a better person, to become yet again the captain that people remember, not the admiral who has lost hope and is bitter.
Yeah, has brain worms because he was an admiral.
Well, and you know, we still do get a lot of deflationary stuff in this episode. Like when Picard is gonna pilot the ship into the Borg node, and like, you know, cracks his knuckles. And he's like, "Oh wait, actually, I'm an old man. And I don't understand these newfangled starships that don't have the glass tempered glass interfaces from back in the day."
Oh damn it! I forgot my. Oh damn it! I forgot my password. Do you know what my password is? Do you know what it is? I can't. Where's does this have LCARS on it? I only know how to use LCARS.
Exactly.
I want to point out that the few times we get a good look at the helm console in Starships, it's literally like a Nintendo, like an NES D-pad. Like, you push the A button to go into impulse, and then you got to click like left or right on the D-pad to like maneuver. And you got to do the Konami code to blow up the ship.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I can't even with all that. It's so silly. Anyway, I feel like that was played for laughs. I really liked how much they leaned into that too. Like, you really think that Picard's gonna like say engage, and like they're just waiting for him to say engage. Like, they keep looking at each other, looking at him like they did in that earlier episode. But really, they're looking at him because, like, is he actually gonna know how to do this? And the music swells, and it's like epic, and it's like I don't know.
Hey Jack, how do I open PDF?
No! Picard is not fighting, please.
You're right. No, Picard's on a redemption arc, not a degradation arc. Okay, that's a big difference.
Good. I don't want that.
No.
So yes. Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to think where to go from here. Let's talk about 7 of 9, daggone it.
Yeah. Let's talk about
Hell yeah.
Leftcom reading group gone wrong.
Ooh. Really?
It's like the fucking KAPD here. This is like, you know, this is the German Revolution getting crushed all over again.
Oh
Like,
no!
Rip.
At least they didn't get Rosa this time.
That's
Yeah, I
right.
didn't get Rosa. Rosa survived. Rosa being, of course, 7 of 9. So they continue the B plot within the Borg cube, and we got last time that the Fenris Rangers were called. My headcanon, by the way, for why there was a Fenris Rangers key tag in Hugh's desk was that 7 of 9 probably visited Hugh. And
Oh yeah, it's just sort of hanging around.
it's just
like-
chilling.
Yeah, I didn't even really think about that, but I kind of assumed he just pocketed the one that Picard have. But why would he have that? I think what you're saying is right.
Yeah, because the first thing that so basically like they find Elnor. Elnor is surrounded by a bunch of Tal Shiar. They use like a cool space flashbang grenade, which my initial thought is like if you're gonna bother flashbanging, like just shoot him. Like why are you fist fighting him? But anyway, they flashbang him. They start fighting.
Flash banging and fist fighting. Like, what are we talking about here?
That's good old.
That's a good question.
Good old fashioned Tom O'Brien. But this
There
is
you
the
go.
ancient way that Jat Vash and the other one fight.
Yeah.
Javash and the Order of
Kalat.
This is just their
Something
weird-
like Kalat.
Malak.
Kalat Malat. Yeah.
Kalat Malat. Boom.
a lot. My God.
We already established that Tal Shiar cheat though. Like she immediately cheated.
Right. It's true, but I guess I don't know. They wanted to do some cool like kung fu movie shit with the blind protagonist still shredding shit around him. So
They
Props
may
to
accomplish
them.
that. It was cool.
that shit was
Um,
cool. Might not have made sense, but I like it.
Yeah, it was a good choreographed fight scene.
It's better than
So
a
yeah,
double
but-
axe handle. That shit breaks your own fingers.
Yeah, none of that. Although what I would love is like a wink and a nod at the old school fighting choreography, and like for there to be like some kind of like dumb space explanation as to why they did that. Like, just I want one scene of like 7 of 9 doing the double axe handle, and then some alien who is unfamiliar with this just like look over like, or no, it'd be Elnor. Elnor would like look over and be like, why did humans do that move? That seems dumb. And she's like, oh, like, in the 23rd century, we all got reinforced, fingers. And so it's actually really powerful and it doesn't hurt us. I want something just like silly. Anyway.
I would like that. I would like that explanation.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Yeah.
Standard
Does the Federation Does the Federation have its own like invented martial art, like Krav Maga or something?
Sistema. Yeah.
These like their own cybernetic like little implants to reinforce your fingers so you can do Captain Kirk moves. I don't know.
Krav
Cute.
McKirk.
Kirk Maga.
Maga.
There's legit a Star Trek book called Kirk Fu that teaches you the confusing and probably not helpful martial arts behind the TOS fight scenes.
Have I ever told you?
Oh.
Have I ever told you I bought a Star Trek origami book? It's like
Can you make an
No.
Enterprise?
you can make seriously. They have all the different variants of the Enterprise, the bird of prey, everything. They've all of them, and
What about? Can
The
you
only
make Deep Space Nine? Can you make an origami Deep Space Nine?
I'd say so.
Something.
Yeah, there is one, I think. Yeah, and do you know why I bought it? The main reason I must say I bought it was because on the front it had a sticker on it and said, "Comes with 8 free sheets of paper to get you started." And I thought that was the lamest selling thing for a book I've ever seen.
Oh my god.
8
So
black
you bought it.
paper, so I bought it.
Wow, come on, Big Rod. Stop being so cheap. It was
No,
more than
that's-
8.
Hey, an irony purchase still gives you money.
Oy, I guess so. Big Rod is really playing us all. That's the truth.
Just one thing about the Borg cube that I wanted to mention that we missed in the earlier discussion of the admonition. The reason why the cube, this particular cube became like disconnected and got sabotaged was because when the Borg assimilated Ramda, the admonition entered into their consciousness, and that totally screwed them up.
They're like, never mind, don't want to know shit. No, well, they like it's basically like a poison pill. It's a black pill, and so like once their Borg cube assimilated it, they're like, you know what? Never mind. We're just gonna let you go. We don't really want any of that on us. I know that we want to assimilate everything, but not that.
It's like the limits of what is it, like the negative dialectic of enlightenment, right? Like, you know, like the Borgs are like the sort of like inverse image of the Federation with like the Enlightenment desire to know everything.
Yeah.
And they run up against their limit when they hit that Lovecraftian horror knowledge.
Yeah. It's like Cthulhu reading Nick Land and being like, nah, never mind.
Who wants to see the pictures of these origami? Add my screen there.
Dun, 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 dun.
Brief.
Bam, 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 bam.
They're the actual ones.
Give me that shit. Let's see
That's
it.
pretty
Let's
cool.
see it.
It's good, isn't
That's
it?
amazing. That's so neat.
That's really cute. I dig it.
Oh my god.
So
anyway,
like we got in the weeds. Oh yeah,
well, I guess Elnor, you gotta do it.
Elnor got captured, basically. And right in the nick of time, 7 of 9 comes marching in with their fucking blasters. Pew, pew, pew. Murking motherfuckers. And then Elnor starts helping her out. And then as soon as they get done killing all these Romulans, Elnor's like, honey. And just gives her a big hug.
It's like robot Xena mommy. Me. Like.
So wholesome.
I
Why
know,
is he
it's
so
really
good?
wholesome. The whole thing is so wholesome. I want to be as badass and as wholesome as they are.
Yes.
I am not sure if Elnor asking Borgified 7 of 9, are you going to assimilate me now, is wholesome.
That's not wholesome.
But 7 of 9 is like, nope, I'm looking out for you. And
you seem to be kind of into it.
No, she was into it. She was into it. Let's talk about that.
She wasn't into assimilating Elnor. Kyle, I think you're making the case that
I'm saying Eldor seemed to be into. He's like, oh, you gonna assimilate me now?
Oh my god! No, that's not what I'm saying.
I didn't get any vibes of that. I think now it would make sense considering he was raised by all women, and that must have been very traumatic. That he would have some kind of, mommy dom kink. But I don't think that that's really what the show's going for.
I seriously think this is a thing, and I think that it comes down to him like always looking for like a more lost cause. He's kind of like a thrill seeker or something, and so he's just like, yeah, let's go.
But he's like a hoshist. He's like, what's the most defeated form of Marxism that I can win?
Exactly.
Yeah, that I can stand for it. No, I mean, perhaps I'm going to accept. I'll accept your interpretation on Deridian grounds.
Anyway,
go back and watch the scene. You'll see what I mean.
It wouldn't be the first time that assimilation is played for sexy laughs, and it might be there in the writing, but I don't know if it's there in the character.
Okay, sure.
Let's backtrack a little bit, right? So, 7 of 9 gets to the Queen Cell. They set this up last episode when Hugh tells Elnor before he dies that you need to get an XP to the Queen Cell. So 7 of 9 goes with Elnor to the Queen Cell, and she's like blooping a lot, and they're figuring out that they're just murking all these Borg drones and XPs. And so she decides to hook into and restart the collective. She's very hesitant to do this. And she says beforehand, let me look up the line. She says, they won't want to be released. And I might not want to release them. Meaning that she'll become 100% Borg Queen.
Yeah. Once you feel the power of running like your own Marxist feminist reading group, it's really hard to let go.
Sure.
And as a trans woman, I mean, I don't know if 7 of 9 has experienced a lot of power like that. She used to be in some crazy ass Leninist cult, but she's trying to do it different. I mean, she believes in organization. She believes in order. It's the stuff. There's stuff about 7 of 9 you need to know, but she's trying to make this an autonomous Marxist feminist reading group. Okay.
I mean, and to be frank, like I did, post 7 of 9 quoting what's her bucket, Kalante. So we kind of got this already established in our headcanon.
They so frequently morph into Stalinist reading groups, so that's the only thing.
That's very true.
I mean, there is some kind of weird, like, ideological, cultish thing that can happen. That's the thing, because, like, where's the harm in a reading group, Like, what are you even doing? Well, the worst thing you could be doing is establishing some mind control for, leftist-themed harem or something. Like, and that sounds paranoid and insidious, but stranger things have happened, Captain.
Yeah, you stick around the left if you don't believe that happens, and you will quickly see that is something that happens.
No, Sophie, that's just a homophobic conspiracy. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
wink, wink.
Yeah, you can't criticize somebody for having sex with underage people if they're queer, right?
No.
God, I could write a whole book about all the dumb things I've heard lefties say. Anyway,
it's fun. But 7 of 9, she's a good reading group leader in that she knows when to step down.
It's true. So yeah, getting back to the actual episode, she hooks into a bunch of tentacles into her back, and her eyes go full Borg Queen. They turn black, and then this green little lights turn on.
Yes, Queen.
Yes, Queen, slay.
Assimilate.
Yes, Queen, assimilate. So she gets on the Borg intercom. She's like, "Yes, Queen, we're gonna do it." No, she says, "We are Borg," in like distorted Borg Queen voice, and they cut to
chills.
Rizzo and Centurion, tough guy, and you hear all the Borgs in this big CGI scene going, "We are Borg, we are Borg, we are Borg," and they're like freaking out. And she's like, "Do it now." Centurion tough guy opens up the window to the Borg cube, and all the Borgs just start flying out.
We are Borg.
Yeah, basically.
That sucked. I fucking hated that.
No, that was pretty rough. And 7 acts like, as the Borg Queen hooked into this cube, reacts in a way that she is being hurt. Basically, she screams, "No!" in her weird Borg voice, it's all echoey and weird.
Yeah, she can feel all their deaths.
Yes, and you see the little your little box in your RTS game with your soldier count just drop dramatically, and she is pissed.
Eleanor's like, what do these numbers mean?
Yeah, Eleanor's like, "I'm here. Hi."
What do those lights going out mean?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. And 7, having left the collectivist cult, was very, was not sure about taking the helm here. Kind of felt like, I don't want to invade all these people's individuality. They're just students trying to figure life out. They probably didn't have good role models. I don't know if I should mind fuck them into working at a factory or something. But it was still hell. There's a direct threat to them. They're going to be liquidated if I don't do something. So I got to do something. And as soon as she tries anything, all of her reading group is instantly punished.
It's true, but the Romulan administrators of the school is the one who expelled them. That wasn't really her fault, and they were going to do it anyway. So,
I guess, yeah. But you know that she feels the weight of it because she's a conscientious person.
She didn't want to send them to the factory, but she figured if they're going to be expelled anyway, they'd be better off getting a job. But they were expelled, and they all ended up just kind of homeless in space. It's pretty sad.
Yeah, they're just drifting now. Like
Another
they're
sad chapter in the history of the left.
Yeah, they're just not really sure what to do. You know, best we can hope for them is that they start a podcast or something.
Hey, subscribe and like and comment.
Hey. Anyway,
So I really liked the end of this Borg Queen scene where right, the titular Eleanor says, "Are you going to assimilate me now?" I'm not getting into that again. And Annika,
titular.
yeah, the titular, and then Seven's just like
that's a single entendre, babe.
and then Seven's like, Annika still has work to do. And I interpreted that as Seven having like a really strong established sense of willpower and sense of individuality, being out of the collective for so long that she was able to kind of like pull herself out of like this like strong uber collectivist like drive to dominate, you know?
Yeah. Like, wow, that was a rush, but I think I'm, just going to relegate that to it's just a part of my life. Maybe I'll like go to a dungeon a few times a month and maybe not try to control people's lives full time. Like it's a healthy way to step down from that position of authority.
And it's
100%.
super significant that like her birth name is the one that they use when they speak about her, which is not at all what you would expect when she uses 7 of 9, like kind of in day-to-day parlance. But like there's that core of identity that's there.
Mm-hmm.
I always interpreted the Borg Queen calling her Annika as like kind of an insult or a throwing shade, like oh, you think you're this like individual now, Annika, like fuck you, even though she identifies as 7 of 9, like she has a whole episode about this in Voyager,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's like at this point it's her chosen name. But when the Borg Queen is going off about individuality, it's a little bit of game recognized game. Like, oh, I see. Yeah, you're not a sucker like all these drones. Like, that's just a fucking act. Like individuality kind of rules a little bit, right? We can run this show. And like
I think it can be both, because it's like she also left her control, and that doesn't make the Borg Queen happy.
No, it doesn't. But 7 of 9 is a designation more than a name. I mean, 7 uses designation as name for a while. Like that's her way of state your designation. Like when she asks, "What's your name?" But 7 of 9 is it's like your title in the hierarchy in the collective. Like, so it makes sense that if that drone, ends up becoming queen, she's not really 7 of 9 anymore. That's
a good point.
Yeah,
she's Annika.
Her job description changed. So in order to talk about her, say, she used to be like the former assistant manager. Like you kind of just say, yeah.
Well,
Queen Annika needs to step down now.
That's true, but there's also the component of being plugged into this hive mind. She refers to herself in the third person in order to, I think she does that in order to disentangle her. Because if she was going to like really be that role, she would just say, "I am doing this, I am doing that," because that's how the Borg Queen refers to herself.
That's fair.
So she is calling herself Annika as a way to be like, I am not the Borg Queen. I'm not a Borg Queen. I am an individual, and I'm going to disconnect from this thing now. But I also want to point out that it may have been easier for her to do this because all the drones are dead. There's some XBs that she, I think there's a scene where she coordinates the XBs to attack Rizzo. And it looks like Rizzo like just barely gets away along with the rest of the Romulans. But like a handful of XBs is not the same thing as an entire Borg cube's worth of drones. Like she doesn't have an army.
And I think as XBs, your cortical node can still pick up the voice of the collective. So that stands to reason that she's still coordinating. And I think that is probably what makes it much easier to relinquish control. But like, it just sort of hit me when you were talking, like, is the Borg Queen kind of like this program that can take over a body? Because between Voyager and First Contact, the Borg Queen is played by different actors. So my headcanon is that the reason why is because it's not like a localized personage. And that's why BorgQueen.exe calls Annika, or calls Seven
Right.
Annika, because like the Borg Queen program's like, I'm letting this one go now.
Well, either it let her go or like she was able to resist it. But I wondered, was the Borg Queen was killed in First Contact, right?
Right, which makes me think
It's a different Borg Queen.
like that there's some kind, like that body is dead, but
Right.
like the Borg Queen comes back. How?
It's
You
like
know what it is?
Stalinism.
Yeah. Brezhnev, replaces Khrushchev, replaces Stalin.
Well, but even if you break the red thread, it regenerates on Twitter.
It does.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, I don't know, some like cam girl will lead the next Red Terror or something, just because
Good.
because online Maoism.
Yeah.
But just to circle back real quick, I wonder if, like, since it's a Borg Queen, I wonder if the program is only compatible with women. And basically, whenever the Borg Queen is killed, like that body is killed, that consciousness continues in that program, and they select out of the drones, they select a compatible woman, and it turns out that Seven is compatible. Because I wonder, but I guess Hugh was going to do it, so I wonder if Hugh hooked into it, if he would get all Borg Queened out.
I feel like
Would
when
it
you're at the
force
level-
fem Hugh?
I feel like when you're at that level of collectivism, that kind of thing just don't matter anymore. You're whatever the collective needs you to be.
Have they always been queens?
Yes.
What about Locutus? He was,
The cutest was not a queen.
Well, Locutus was allowed to retain individuality to sort of be a Federation ambassador. And these decisions were made by the Borg Queen.
It's kind of like the same thing that 7 of 9 did in relation to Voyager, right? Like, oh, I'm your what do you call it?
Ambassador.
Liaison to the collective.
Better.
Right, because Seven was introduced in like a context where they had to cooperate with the Borg. Like the Borg didn't just try to simulate them. Like the Borg needed Voyager's help with something.
Yeah, because what Picard said is the creepiest thing about the Borg is it's not enough that they coerce you to do what you say. You have to want to. They need your soul. They need you to let it overwhelm your individuality and to become it, like in a way willfully. Like they put you in this the situation of overwhelming hegemony to the point where like you're overrun with them and your will gives way. Like that's essential for the Borg. That's one of the most terrifying things about it. And that's probably why we should be very critical of Hegelian frameworks.
So we're at hour 18. Any final thoughts? We've covered most of the main topics.
Don't join a cult.
Don't join a cult.
Just don't do it. You might think it's what we need during extreme times call for extreme measures, but you might just get everyone killed. Or you might at least, they might just be drifting when you're done with them, or when they're done with you, you might be drifting. You just never know. Cults aren't the answer, folks. Keep thinking for yourself.
Unless they're a really good cult.
No,
you just want to lecture at Communist University, Tom.
No, myself and my mate Butler, when we were about 15 years ago, we wanted to set up our own cult called the Fish People of Atlantis, but we never, there were too much drinkers to get anywhere. But we thought that could be quite good. You want to go full on, like, what's the one with the Elohim? What's the one to talk with the Elohim? You know that one? Anybody know that one?
I've heard of it, but I have this book that is like the Oxford Book of New Religions, and it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. It's got like a huge list of cults and like a little description of each of them.
Can we get like a PDF copy of that? I feel like that might be useful for, let's say, Marxist sociology of small organizations.
There are like one or two Marxist organizations in there where like Oxford was like, yeah, these are actually like religious cults at this point.
Sounds like we need to expand the repertoire a little bit, because I want to read those things and maybe extrapolate a little bit, because it's worth it.
The Raelians. You ever heard of that? That's the one.
Yes.
Keeping it Rael.
Yeah, they're kind of some like they were actually they had tables out in the street in Dublin like in the 90s, and we were like, who the hell are these guys? A friend of mine
they were the ISO of UFO cults. They were the most visible. Like they had the best like branding. They were good at what they do. They introduced the idea of replicators to me before I never had really thought about what was happening in Star Trek, but the idea of material recombination to create anything. They have a creation myth. It's very much like Vulcan First Contact. That it gives that the Vulcans, these, aliens that contact Rael, give Rael replicators to recombine food out of thin air so that he could solve hunger. That is part of the Raelians myth. Wow. Pure Roddenberry. Like just cribbing notes from the master.
A friend of mine, she went and for a laugh, she did one of those free personality tests Scientologists give you, and
stress test.
Yeah, she was so full on that she made the guy who was giving her the test cry. She like,
damn,
I don't know what she said, but she destroyed. Like normally they're really trying to get you vulnerable, but she totally out vulnerable the guy and made him cry before she left. That's pretty hard.
Power move.
Wow.
I gotta run, everyone, but I'll see you next time.
All right, Kyle.
Bye, Kyle.
Yeah.
Live long and prosper, Kyle. Thanks for coming.
Live long and Jeebus. Did I tell you at the time in Hollywood the Scientologists have a big like cult center against psychiatry? I don't know. It's like a museum, the anti-psychiatry museum. And I was up there with like myself.
Call me when they open their trans wing. Yeah.
Yeah. There was three. Why did they not like the Scientologists are anti-trans? Are they?
Oh, I don't know, but like, there's a really understandable like anti-psychological current in trans thought, like psychology the profession, because it was just for a long time established transphobia, like the official policies. How did they oppress trans people directly? Very often through psychiatric and through psychology and through medicine. Like as helpful as those things are to us today, they have and still can be used as tools of oppression.
Yeah, like when is it the late 60s or is it the 70s when homosexuality
psychiatry
got actually taken out of the American definition of a mental health problem?
So I want to point out real quick, we're still
it's later than that. Yeah. We're live as shit. I mean, it was later than that.
Yeah, I want to say like 80s, and then much recently, like they changed the definition of trans stuff to gender dysphoria disorder instead of making the dysphoria and the discomfort that one feels being not in their assigned gender, the psychological disorder not being trans itself.
Yeah, that's the pathology, not the this weird fellow thinks he's a woman, kind of thing. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of that happened very recently.
Yeah.
Well, but anyway, myself and my three mates, I was like, I've heard of this place, and I was like interested in cults. I've always been interested in cults, and I was like, I've heard of these guys. I was like, this is fucking Scientology. I said, come on, let's go in here and see what it's like, just to have a buzz. So the four of us went in anyway, and like they wouldn't allow you to go into the actual museum part, what they do is they sit you down. They say, "Well, you got to wait now before we have a guide." And while you're waiting, they get like some Hollywood-looking Tom Cruise motherfucker to come out and get you to sign, like, to give information, like what's your name, where do you come from, and all this kind of shit. We're sitting there, we're like kind of getting a bit weirded out. And your man asked me, he said, "So where did you hear about this?" And I was like, "Oh, I read it on the internet." And he said, "What site?" And I was like, I just kind of made something up. I just went, "Oh, BBC." And he went, "BBC, really?" And he called a guy out of the office, this older Scientologist guy, and he comes over and he goes, did you know we've been on the BBC according to this guy here?" And he's like, "No, I did not know that." And they're being really intense. So after, like, this was going on for a while, and eventually the guy went away for a minute, and like, I was so up for going in here and like just seeing this madness. I was so fucking weirded out by the thing.
Oh.
And it was like, there was four of us, and I said, "Guys, I'm really weirded out by this." And they were all like, "Yeah, this is kind of fucked." And I said, what'll we do? We make a run for it? And they were like, "Yeah, let's do it." And like, I think the front door was one that, I don't know, you couldn't get through, but there was an emergency like fire door exit. And the next thing, like, the four of us get up and we sprint out of the building and kick over the fire door and run down the street like 100 yards. Like,
Oh my God.
and I think the fire alarm went off. We were like, they ran around the car. I don't think they can see us, So like, imagine how crap the cult I would set up would be. Literally 10 minutes in the foyer of a cult.
Yeah, you're not even in the like introduction.
No,
Yeah.
that's the fucking intro bit. Oh man.
No. You got to have nice ice-breaking activities in a cult, so that you make people feel like they're not in a cult. And then
have some coloring books and sandwiches.
Then
play
you
some
either
Jenga.
hand out the ABCs of Dialectics by Trotsky or Foundations of Leninism by Stalin, and then then you slowly work them into the program.
So let's take a look at the comments before we sign off. We don't have a lot.
Yeah, we got Dilla or
Diazi, I think.
Diazi. All right. They got Diazi's talk about 6,000 people with the virus in the Netherlands and that they're scared. God damn.
That is fucking intense.
They're closing all bars and restaurants until April 6th. Yeah, so that's fucking really intense and scary. New York is creepy right now, but we're not on that level yet. Hope our humors didn't come across too glib. We're just trying to make the best out of a crazy ass situation. Health
Agreed.
for you and everyone that's like around you that's scared about this shit. I'm wondering if I should go home because I like partied and stuff, and my mom's kind of old, so I'm like, Anyway, well,
might be a good excuse to hang out in New York instead of hanging out with your mom for a little bit.
I gotta stay. Sorry, I have to. It's for your health.
Yeah, it's like fucking Zoom your mother, or Skype your mother.
Yeah.
These fucking Zoom must be like going fucking cha-ching. Every fucking college and school in the world is going, "Oh, we'll do our lessons over Zoom."
Oh my god, yeah. We got a robot trying to sling some profile banners.
Yeah, sliding into our DMs trying to sell us shit. Cool. Whatever. Now the robots are chasing us, babe.
Is that an actual robot, you think?
Yeah.
I do think that's a robot.
Look at the string of messages.
What's new? I saw it at your stream name channel here on Twitch. Title. This is so good. Good job. I'm about to design a unique overlay for your stream. Find
that can't be a robot. It used bout.
That's true. They use that apostrophe, like in the Beastie Boys like album track, like the title tracks. They'll have, an apostrophe for like something.
Yeah.
So you know. Find the reference in my Twitch profil's banner. Talk shows and podcasts, which is our genre, is legendary.
Fair enough. I didn't read it.
Wow.
Yeah. They're using every tag that they can get. Nice.
And then we got Patrick Higgins, who is not a robot, I'm assuming.
Not a robot.
Wow. They destroy documents about themselves. Wow.
That's pretty good going, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm
Most
sure.
successful cult ever.
I'm sure. Patrick, I'm sure your Len and his friends are taking notes and hoping they can, follow suit.
Hey.
Eh.
Hey. So, with that said, let us sign off. Live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper, boo.
Livy longy, prosper muchy.
Thanks for watching.